Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Just Saying Football with Jack and Sean. I'm your host, Sean Gannon, alongside my partner, Jack McNicholas. We're here to bring you news, notes, weekly updates, and game analysis of your favorite teams from around the league. If you don't have the chance, go check out our website, justsayingfootball.com, and follow us on Instagram at JustSaying, no G, WJS for article and video updates. Week 2 Monday Night Football kicks off when the Tennessee Titans make their way to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Obviously, Buffalo dominated the Rams last week. Titans did not get a win at home against your New York Giants. What are your thoughts going into this one?
Yeah, the Titans gotta prove a little point after having a pretty solid outing against the Giants until that last second there, thank God. But the great thing here is we got the Bills plus 9.5. I mean, this is Vegas is not expecting Tennessee to come away with the victory at all, and I don't know how you can. You got Tannehill versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen last week could have established himself as a very early MVP candidate.
Yeah, him and Patrick Mahomes are the ones that were definitely holding down the fort when it came to the quarterback room, definitely looking like the MVPs. I think if you're the Tennessee Titans, you're probably a fan asking when Malik Willis is going to be coming in. You didn't love what Tannehill was doing last week. You did not love to see Derrick Henry go out with an injury and get hit like Derrick Henry normally hits.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? How do you think he'll do this game coming into a little bit better matchup against the Bills for a run game?
Yeah, a little bit better. I mean, the thing for me I'm looking for is, can the Bills get a good run game going? Because Tennessee, they win these big games. They can do it, especially in prime time, by giving Henry the ball. And like you said, Henry got hurt with an injury last week. They had Dontrell Hilliard going off for a couple touchdowns. And Henry still finished with 21 carries, still had 82 yards, still has get a lot of involvement. What I really liked is, we kind of need to figure out who's going to be the number one guy in Tennessee. Is it going to be Treylon Burks? Is it going to be Robert Woods? Is it going to be Kyle Phillips last week, the leader, with 6 catches for 66 yards? Not too shabby for him in his.
He's going to be Dontrell Hilliard, 3 for 61, 2 touchdowns.
Honestly, though, I mean, they got creative last week, so it gives me an advisement that they could do well. But Tennessee's defense, they're missing a couple of key pieces, and Buffalo's defense was way better than we expected last week.
Buffalo is looking like they're ready for the playoffs. They're looking like they're ready for the Super Bowl run they've been so close to getting the last few years, and that's what they're here to do. Stephon Diggs is playing like Stephon Diggs plays, man. He was dominating it last week. I expect him to continue to do that this week. I don't think Kevin Byard's going to have an answer for him. I'm definitely locking in the Bills for this one. I think they're going to start off the season 2-0.
With that spread, though, 9.5?
Yeah, that spread. I'll take the spread.
I like that. I mean, what they did to the Rams last week gives me no options now but to pick the Bills. I mean, if Tennessee does win, it's going to be on the back of Derrick Henry and holding that clock to their side. But it's going to be the Bills. I think the Bills got to figure out their run game. Josh Allen, their leading rusher last week, and you still got Devin Singletary. James Cook, Dalvin Cook's brother, I got to bring it up, Chauncey's guy, with that fumble last week on his first NFL carry, got pulled right from the game. I hope he gets a little bit more slack this week. But Devin Singletary looked good. Josh Allen with an insane kind of dunking style rushing touchdown. He was insane last week.
That was fantastic. James Cook, the come up season, it will happen. All right, don't let that dissuade you. All right, any James Cook fans or anyone like that, he is the man. And speaking of James Cook, his brother and great running back in the NFL, Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings are making their way to Philadelphia to face on the Eagles. 51.5 point over-under in this one. Eagles are currently favored right now. Minnesota walking off a huge win against the Packers. Eagles walking off a huge win against the Lions. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about in the Sunday game, so many tight games. Even with the even with the Titans that we were just talking about, everything comes down to the wire. And I mean, the Eagles, Vikings, this is going to be a tough game. Philly in prime time. Philly's looking great, but man, the Vikings showed up last week. We talked about this against the Packers. They dominated. They got out to an early lead, and that's what they're going to have to get. They're going to have to do that against this really tough secondary. You got Justin Jefferson, but you also got him going against James Bradbury on one side and Darius Slay on the other. And they got a pretty tough front seven going after your guy Kirk Cousins.
Look, all I just got to say, Justin Jefferson, 9 receptions, 184 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
We love that.
Why weren't the Packers covering him?
And
I do not
who had
know.
more yards than him last week?
No one.
Nobody.
Because he's leading the lead right now. That's what he does. Feed the man, Kevin. Thank you. I do expect Adam Thielen to get way more involved in this one. 3 receptions for 36 yards. I'd love to see Dalvin Cook catch the ball. 3 receptions, 18 yards. I want to see him score rushing touchdowns, 20 carries for 90 yards. That's exactly what you expect from him to continue getting 20 kinds of carries. I do think, though, that the Eagles are not a team that you can just sleep on. They have a ton of weapons across on the offensive unit. A.J. Brown took no time saying, hey, I'm a wide receiver and I'm great and I'm on this team, going off for 140 yards last week. Devonta Smith, 0 receptions, 0 yards. Hopefully a little bit more involved in the game. Hopefully. I think these two can be one of the two best duos that you see in the NFL currently.
Yeah, no, you are so right. A.J. Brown took no time. I mean, this is what we were talking about with Jalen Hurts. Everybody's been asking, is Jalen Hurts going to take that next step? He needed those receivers when he got there. He didn't know if he had the job. He earned that job. Then he goes up and he gets Devonta Smith last year, his college teammate. Now he goes and gets one of his best friends from childhood, and look at what they're doing. I mean, the Eagles right now, as much as I hate to say it, they got a great narrative. They got a great defense. But I have to say, I don't like that they are favored because I want to just say it. I want to go with the Vikings on the road. I want Dalvin Cook to have a big game this week. I think they got out to the thing. I think they got right out to it. I hate to say it, but the Eagles, man, like you said, they are not to be underestimated. At home, it's taking me a lot not to pick them. It's not like my Giants bias at all, but it's because I saw more out of Minnesota last week than I wanted to. The Eagles were in a 3-point game with Detroit last week. The Packers got blown out by the Vikings. So I like the Vikings more. I like Justin Jefferson, his involvement. I want that Adam Thielen time, like you said. I want everybody else to get involved, even Irv Smith. I would love to see the defense step up like it did last week too. Not a lot of people are talking about that. We keep talking about how there was such a spread between the Packers and the Vikings, but it was really the Vikings defense that went really hard last week, especially Harrison Smith.
Yeah, no, he got the interception. That's what he does. The defense made a huge 4th and goal stop. That's just, everything I could ask for. The Ed Dontel era is in full effect. The Kevin O'Connell era is in full effect. I'm going with the Vikings as well. I watched a video on Instagram of the Vikings. It was in their post game. It was in the locker room, and just the vibe. It just wasn't what you were seeing during the Mike Zimmer era. And I love Zim. I think he's a great coach. Thought that he was, but the reports about the culture of fear going on. Now you bring in Kevin O'Connell, this 38-year-old head coach, is able to relate with the players. JJ, has the swag, have the gold grills, is absolutely killing it. And now to have a coach that sort of embodies that younger mentality, I think is really what's helping us sort of come together as a team and really putting the pieces together. And I'll keep rocking with the Vikings right now. I like what we could maybe do in the next few weeks. Yeah, and
Minnesota over the last 2 times that they have had to play Philly, they've had their number. They've won games by a couple of possessions. So
except the one that mattered.
That was I'm saying since that NFC Championship loss, there is going to be they've been 2-0. So I'm excited to see. What I really want to see though is Miles Sanders, because he had 96 yards last week. And nobody's really talking about that.
20 yards.
And he could be the X factor for me. I mean, we keep talking about the receivers on Philly, but Miles Sanders is a very qualified running back. He gets things done. He's still a young guy, but he's very heavily involved in the offense. And when you're looking at Dalvin, it's the same way that Dalvin could continuously build this offense is the same way Sanders could help take so much stress off of the shoulders of Jalen Hurts. But it's really going to be Jalen Hurts versus Kirk Cousins for me. Kirk Cousins at the end of the day is I feel like he's going to go up and go get 300 yards no matter what,
Yeah, I think that's what he can do. My last question before we move on, which defense would you take, Vikings or Eagles in this one?
It's very close. When I saw the Vikings last week, I saw a lot more potential than I had thought. They had improved a lot. Darius Smith really came to play. Hunter's looking healthy. But I do like the Eagles overall. What I saw out of Detroit last week, even though they gave up all those things, I think that when they step up to their competition, that's really what Philly's best at. When they play a high-scoring team, they can do that. And I think that at the end of the day, I see them being the ones to make the bigger turnover. But I do like the Vikings defense completely. Like when you look at them on paper, it's one of the top 10 defenses in the whole league.
I absolutely love that. I did say Darius Smith and Danielle Hunter, 25 sacks combination. They each got one last week. 23 more left to go on the season. Let's get it done, boys. That's all the time that we have. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you everyone for listening.
Yeah, thank you guys checking us out. Just Saying Football, justsayingfootball.com, Just Saying Football on YouTube, and Just Saying No GWJS on Instagram for all your video and article updates. Thank you guys for watching us. Get ready to check us out next week for our Thursday video.
Enjoy.